In the early hours of this morning when I woke up, I saw a question from a fan of RealTALK. And the question was, should Christians be talking about sex? Should we just call it sex or Jeru, like we are used to calling it, instead of us just outrightly calling it what it is, sex? And my answer is, yes, we are Christians, but we are still human. Even our Lord Jesus Christ had to come in a human flesh to fulfill his destiny on earth. So a part of our humanity is talking about sex. It's actually having sex within the confines of marriage. My name is ODUN Akerele, and this is RealTALK. We are so excited this afternoon as we'll be talking about sex on the couch. For the benefit of our viewers that are joining us for the first time, RealTALK with ODUN is a show by women for women. We come on this show and we talk about, issues that an average Christian woman will shy away from. But on this show, we tread where others feared. Welcome to RealTALK once again. And today, we are going to school to talk about sex. We are so ready for today's episode. All right, so let's go straight into it. My guest for today is, she actually wrote a book, and the title of that book is Sex on the Couch. So our topic for today is actually our book. So we'll get to that. We'll talk about her book. We'll talk about her social handles towards the end of the show. All right, her name is Tare Dite Ojoko. Tare is called to enrich and strengthen marriages and families. She's passionate about seeing marriages thrive and relationship fruitful. She believes that marriage is God's idea and can be enjoyed as God intended. I wonder where people think sex is from, actually. Like all those Christian people, I don't know, where do you think sex comes from? But anyway, for Tare, family is the incubator for children to be nurtured and released to make a world a better place. She is an incurable romantic. Oh, I can testify to that. You need to follow her on Facebook to see the way she goes with her husband. Valentine's Day. That's how she was giving aggro. She was giving everybody aggro on Valentine's Day. She was all over. And she's a pastor. So, sis, I need to commend you for not, for just owning that. Because a lot of pastor misses will shy away from that. But you don't do that. You own it. You're so honest about it that it's a God-given thing that should be enjoyed within the confines of marriage. And I need to commend you for that. She's also a trained lawyer. All right, you're welcome. She's also a trained lawyer of over 21 years post-call and runs the law office of Ojoko and Ojoko with her husband. She is also a graduate of the prestigious Kenneth Hagin's Remal Bible Training School. So aside the fact that we get the practical aspect of it, we are going to get the spiritual aspect of it because she's packed with both ways. So she is a certified pastoral and clinical counselor with the Institute of Counseling in Glasgow, Scotland. She is a facilitator at the Wisdom Driven Marriage Academy, where she teaches on sex and sexuality. So go get your notebook, go get your pen, as we are going to School of Sex. Welcome to the show, Tare.
Thank you, Odun.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's a great privilege. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Before we start the show, I was asking you about the funniest question or the weirdest question someone have asked you as a Christian. But that is what we are going to talk about towards the end of the show. I'm just saying that to let you know that the first question I'm going to ask you was a question that I got this morning. Should Christians be talking about sex?
Yes. If we don't talk about sex, who has to talk about sex other than Christians? Sex is a gift from the Lord. It is God who made sex. Every good and every perfect gift comes from above, from the Father of all lights, in whom there is no variableness, no shadow of turning. Sex came from the Lord, and it's a good gift. It didn't come from the devil. So that's the more reason why we should talk about it. The first time sex was mentioned, it was right after God had created Adam and Eve. And so sex came from the Lord. So we need to talk about it. We know that the enemy perverts everything that is good. Doesn't mean that the good thing has stopped being good. So we need to talk about it. Christians should talk about it. Yes.
Because thank you so much. So the next one I'll ask you is, should we even call it sex? Because I know some people will be so spiritual that they will be like, let's give it a name, Jerusalem, or there was one I had recently, anointing service or something in that line. So should we actually call it sex? Is it too sinful for us to use the word sex?
Jerusalem is a place, is a city. It's a city. Sex is sex. You need to call it the name. You see, that's why we have problems now with children who are sexually abused, because some parents are not as bold as to say how it is to their children. And so when their children are being sexually abused, their children don't even know that they are being sexually abused because of the secrecy that the whole thing has been shrouded in. So yes, it's sex, and it is sex. Why would you not call it sex? Is your name not ODUN? Will you leave ODUN and start calling fine food? You have a name. There is a name. So even when the animals were brought to Adam, Adam gave them names. So sex is the name, it's the English word for it. So if you have another word in your language, no wahala. But the thing is that it is sex. Let's call it as it is.
Thank you so much. So it doesn't mean you're a sinner. I don't mean we are sinners as we are sitting down here to say sex, and we are calling sex for like an hour, because we'll keep mentioning it for like an hour.
Of course not. It doesn't mean that we are. No.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carmen, for joining. Yes, Jerusalem is Jesus entering Jerusalem. All right. So let's talk about love language. I know a lot of people are so particular about, my spouse doesn't speak my language. My language might be physical touch or words of affirmation or, acts of service and all that. So what does love language have to do with the sexual life of a couple?
It's very important, because if I don't feel loved, in other words, if you're not communicating to me in a way that I can feel loved, then getting involved with sex with you becomes a job, becomes hard work. Because truly you cannot divorce the act of sex from feelings and from emotions. So what's the emotions is the fact that you are communicating love to me in the way that I understand. Remember, it's a language. So if you're speaking Hausa to me, and I'm a riverine woman, I'm from Ijo, and you're speaking Hausa to me, I don't understand what you're speaking. So there is a confusion there. I don't know when you're saying go this way. So it's the same thing. When you're not speaking the language of love that I understand, I won't flow with you. So you've got to be able to speak my love in the language that I understand, so that I can also, my body can respond to your touch and to respond to anything you want to do sexually with me. So it's very important that we know each other's love language. It will make marriage sweeter. So we need to take that time to learn and to understand what it means to love me and what it means for me to love you.
All right. Thank you so much. So in the vein of this love language thing, is it a must for me to have all of these languages? Maybe I'm predominantly moved by physical touch, and can I still like acts of service? Can I still like word of affirmation? Can I still have a bit of all the 5 love languages? And should I be expecting my partner to meet me on all those levels?
Yes, let's not just limit ourselves to descriptive boxes. Can I say that again? Let's not limit ourselves and put ourselves in a straight jacket of definitions. The fact remains, and the truth is that we all need a little of everything, but one may be predominant. Who doesn't like the spouse coming back and buying gift, buying a box of chocolate if you love chocolate, or buying something to just say, I was thinking of you. My primary love language is not gifts, but I appreciate the fact that my husband goes out, as he's coming back, is buying barbecue chicken for me. You understand? Or as he's
Yeah.
coming back, is buying something for me. Who doesn't like that?
Like
You know, the
that.
fact that I have a husband who can serve me sometimes, who can help me sometimes when I'm tired, it may not be my primary love language, but it communicates the fact that he cares for me. So do not limit yourself to only the definitions as stated by Gary Chapman. You actually have a little of all of them.
All
It's
of
just that
them.
one
Yeah.
speaks more to you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm asking this question because as women, there are women that I know that have said it doesn't speak my love language, or my love language is just this. So how can he come and meet me in bed? So the next question is, if your spouse is not speaking your love language, right, should that affect your sexual life?
Well, to an extent, it can affect your sexual life, but also it all depends on how. See, life is about perspectives. Life is about perspective. So if you have a spouse who may not necessarily like to maybe spend quality time with you, but he likes to touch you when you guys are walking on the road. He likes to hold your hands when you're driving. Then he likes to help you around the house. In your mind, you've got to make the adjustments to the reality you find yourself in. Oh, he may not do this all the time, and I talk to him about it, but I don't nag about it. Oh, let me be grateful for the one he's doing. So I shouldn't withhold sex because my husband is not speaking one language somewhere, but he's speaking others that I can understand. He may not be the primary one to me, but we're all work in progress. Maybe if he can do this other one, that is after a while he may be able to do this because that is not his natural inclination. Some men, their natural inclination is not to speak the words of, hey, I love you, I do, but you can see that they love you in different actions. Sister, take that one, work with it, run with it, build on it, and just expect that something good will come out of it at the end of the day. So don't just tell yourself, because he's not doing this and I will not, no. You're not even shortchanged. You need the sex, sister. You need it.
Okay, now we'll get to that one. We'll get to that one. Okay, so the last question I'm going to ask you with the love language is, should we both, okay, this is very personal to me, right? Should we both speak the same love language? Like, my partner's love language is physical touch. My own love language is acts of service. But then my partner feels I need to make physical touch my love language. So the question is, should we both speak the same love language?
You see, life is beautiful when you have your uniqueness and your differences. We're complementary. I'm not a clone of my husband. He's not a clone of me.
Yes.
So if we have the same primary love language, fine. But if we don't have, that's why it should be more beautiful. That's why it's more beautiful and more interesting. But the question is about compromise. We must all realize it. Marriage is about compromise. So the fact that my husband's love language is maybe physical touch, and that's not my own, but it's even the reverse. Me, my own love language is physical touch. My husband is words of affirmation and all of that. But it doesn't, but I will yield. I will bend towards speaking his love language. He will bend speaking my own love language, even though both of us do not have the same love language. But by the time you do the adjustment, you won't even know which one is which anymore. So marriage is about compromise and adjustment. You don't hold on to, if you don't speak exactly like, no. So if your husband wants physical touch, and physical touch is not your primary love language, you give him physical touch. If your wife wants attention, quality time, and your own, you bend backwards to accommodate your wife. We must not speak the same love language. The house will be boring if we speak the same love language. That's what I feel. Variety is the spice of life.
I agree. Our uniqueness is actually what should attract us to each other. I always say I don't want to be in a relationship with myself, because if I'm doing what you're doing, if we are the same, that's me dating myself. So thank you for that. So let's move on to sexual fantasy. And This is a question of, I have a fantasy. My spouse does not like my fantasy. Now, my fantasy, this is like an example, okay? Is like my husband making love to me in a flying plane or something ridiculous. And my husband is so righteous and all he wants to do is just be in the bedroom, do it in the bedroom. So how do you balance this? How do you handle this kind of a sexual fantasy that is not the same if you're not in the same space with your fantasies?
Okay, this is a good one, and I'm glad that Odu, you're asking this question. I don't think anybody has really, for all the times I've spoken about sex, I don't think the Christians or the people I've hung out around have been bold enough to talk about sexual fantasies. Sexual fantasies are good, they are okay, but we must also know that we need to draw a line. Where it goes to our core values, to our beliefs as Christians, and then we may need to, soft pedal on those fantasies. Some may be outright lost, imaginative lost, and may invite some certain things into our heads. Let's be careful. Me, I believe in sexual fantasies. I also have mine, but I also need to work to have those fantasies within the boundaries, within the confines that don't go contrary to my relationship with Jesus. I'm assuming that I'm talking to Christian women. That's why I'm going this route. Okay, so talking about sexual, try and life, like I said, and marriage, like I said, is about compromise and adjustment. Compromise and adjustment. So imagine that your husband is not as crazy as you are in your head, like my own. He's not as crazy as I am in my head. Like that. So I've learned to moderate so that I'm not overly disappointed. I've learned to lower or moderate and modify my fantasies. You understand? Some expectations. Some have been bold enough to voice. Some have not been bold enough to voice. You understand? Some I tried them, but once in a while in your conversations, you just chip those kind of things. I remember that one of our fantasies, I think, one of mine was to have sex on the freezer, on your deep freezer. Your deep freezer is not that high, so you can actually sit on it. And one day, when there was no one in the house, the fantasy became a reality. So, what's on the deep freezer? So you must understand the kind of person you're married to, and know that if you have certain fantasies, it takes time and wisdom to pull them out one after the other. And especially when you're married to someone who is very stilted and stiff in their ways and very conservative, you have to be careful. So after this show now, don't go and tell your husband, honey, we must do that. I'm not even like doing it on the couch in the sitting room. You understand? To balance these things out. So I think this is what I can say for now on sexual fantasy. I think sexual fantasy, we should even have a show on sexual fantasy.
Okay. Don't worry, we'll bring you. You come and talk about that one alone. All right. Thank you so much. So there is a question before we move on. They said, what do I do when I have communicated my love language and my hobby isn't trying to work with it at all? Do I adjust even when it's not working for me?
I think you should start from speaking his own love language. You see, love is about giving. Love is sacrificial. Love is giving. Also speak his own, because most times we're so fixed,
hung up on our own.
Yes, we are hung up on our own that we don't think of the other person. So I think start with speaking his love language, hanging out with him in his hobbies that may not be your own kind of hobbies, watching football with him when it's not your own kind of watching football. Then if you're, for example, if yours is physical church and your hobby is not into physical church, beholding as he's driving, put your hand on his hand while the hand is on the gear stick, and you begin to rub the hand. You understand? So you may have tried communicating words and it's not working. Try communicating with action. Try communicating with action. Let him know. And also, don't let him know, for us women, don't let him know in a nagging way. This is the
Yeah.
way I have been telling you, love me like this, and you're not loving me like this. No. Like Jimmy Evans, a marriage expert in America, would say, he said, wife, be the confronter, confront in love, then let the Holy Spirit be the enforcer. So when you say about something, you drop it. Allow the Holy Spirit to enforce it. Don't go back and keep nagging about it. Pray about it is important to you. Then allow the Holy Spirit to enforce it. Assuming that your husband has the Spirit of God. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's a caveat. That's a caveat.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you so much for that. So I hope that answers your question, Amin. All right, so I'm going back to the sexual fantasy, and I think this is the one I should have actually asked first. As Christian women, should we have ridiculous fantasies like the one I just gave in that example? Like, I know someone that it had a kind of excitement for her if she, herself and her husband are making love where someone might actually come in or where someone might see them, maybe like in a public place, like on the beach or whatever. It's it's exciting for her. So as Christian women, should we even have these fantasies, not to even now go to a part of the ridiculousness?
Yeah, see, your mind, God gives you your mind, and you have the gift of imagination. You understand? And to actually enjoy sex, you need to get involved. And part of what your mind does is to imagine. So imagination is good, it's okay. But you need to filter your imagination and your thought processes as a Christian through the word. You understand? So it's not bad having sexual fantasies or thoughts of the way you would love, because after what is sexual fantasy? So you're just in simple terms, the way I would love my partner to make
Yeah.
love to me.
Yeah.
That's what it means. The way I like my partner to ravish me, you understand, and to desire me. But for us, even women, we need it more because we need to be, our minds need to be connected to sex for us to enjoy sex.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing to have. But like you said, it's the ridiculousness or otherwise of it that is the issue. You understand? Sex is, for me, is a private thing. It's a private thing. So putting yourself or having sex in a place that you can be chanced on is not good. I don't know. I'm not judging her, but I think she should look at that thing again. Why do you want to have? Why do you need that kind of sense of adventure? Because it's actually a sense of adventure.
Yeah, it is adventure.
For someone to be able to, you're having sex in a place where somebody can see your nakedness that is not your spouse. So you need to check it. It's not a very, and also for sexual fantasies, we've got to be careful the kind of things we watch and the kind of things we read. Sometimes I'm guilty of that. When you read books or you watch movies that have, they are not outright porn, but you watch movies or read novels that have those kind of things, you begin to imagine. So you need to also to filter your imagination. What passes through your mind will also determine what you think about and what you imagine.
I totally agree with that. And our mind is it's a funny thing that it grabs graphic image faster than anything. So whatever you're thinking or you're seeing, it tends to grab it and that then start replaying it in your head. So thank you so much for that. So let's go to our third point of discussion, which is romancing the day. Now, this issue is particular to women, and I hope some women, I don't want to start mentioning names, I hope you all are out there listening to today's show. So for women, we are always hung up on, you didn't send me a text all through the day, you didn't check on me all through the day, you didn't pamper me all through the day, when I now got home, he now wants to come have sex. I mean, so let's talk about romancing the day. For you, what does romancing the day means?
You see, romance, like when I talk about romance, I tell people romance means different things to different people. What is romantic to you may not be romantic to me. The romance means different things to different people, and it's actually tied to your love language. You understand? So the way expect him to be romantic. Or see, expectations is very important. If you
Yeah.
have this kind of expectation, sometimes you'll be overly disappointed. You'll be
Mm-hmm.
overly disappointed. So what I do, I create my own romance. I tell people I create my own romance. Do you know that I like part of my to-do list on a day would have send a love chat to hubby or
Mm-hmm.
send a video to hubby, let him know how much you know what you're thinking about him,
Mm-hmm.
or call hubby and tell him that you're thinking of him. I don't know if he has that one on his to-do list too. Me, I'm responsible for
For
myself.
you, yes,
I'm
yes.
responsible. It's only me I can control. I can't control any
Uh-huh.
other human being.
Uh-huh.
It is me.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do it for me. I
Mm.
will do it for me.
Mm.
So part of my room, and then okay, but let me not also let me go beyond that. Apart from doing that, there are also some romantic rituals we have, my husband and I. So when we end of the working day, when we leave each other and when we come back together, although we most times work together in the same office, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I may not work from the office on a particular day. But we have certain rituals that have guided us for, we've been married for about 16 years now. By May will be 16 years
Oh,
that have
wow.
guided us in our marriage. And what we do, it's what we call the welcome and the goodbye ritual. So as we're going out in the morning, we're kissing each other. As we're coming back, we're hugging each other, spending a few seconds in each other's arms, and we're
Mm.
kissing each other. We say, "I
Mm.
missed you," and welcome back. And
Mm.
then we sit down to talk about our day and all of
Mm.
that. So that's part of the things I do, or the part of the things we do to ensure that romance does not cease from our home. Because
Mm.
without romance, marriage gets to be a duty,
Yeah.
and lovers, passionate lovers, become like indifferent roommates. So
Mm.
romance is important. Determine what romance means to you and your spouse. Then look for little ways. See, romance can be in the big, romance can be in the small.
Mm.
So choose what will work for you on a daily basis, and stop thinking of it's only me. Do your part.
Mm.
Do your part of it.
Mm.
The Bible says, do not be tired of doing good. Do not be weary of
Mm.
well doing, that you will be rewarded if you faint not. So keep doing. If it's coming from you, keep doing it. I know some of you are tired of doing, but
Yeah,
for your
that's
own
actually what
sake,
I was going to ask. Won't you be tired if you are the only one doing it?
some are tired of doing it.
Uh-huh.
But for me, I see. I think if another person was married to my husband would not be a romantic man
Mm.
because they'll be expecting so much from
Mm.
him. But me, I am married to him, and my actions him now bend towards being romantic. So that's why I
Mm.
believe that your actions, after a while, if you don't
Mm.
get tired, and also you create an enabling environment for him to become romantic, in the sense that I tell my husband, I owe you peace and I owe you prayers. Give
Mm.
your husband peace. Let him
Mm.
have peace first. Then
Mm.
when he has peace, he has an opportunity to think of how to please his wife.
Mm. Mm. Wow. Wow. All right. Thank you so much for everyone that joined. Thank you. I'm really not acknowledging people because I want to pack everything we have into 1 hour. Okay. So thank you all for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you. So about the question of sensual fantasy, someone sent in a question. It's the idea of being seen that heightens the sexual excitement. I don't think this person actually wants to be watched. So they're saying that it's just the idea that someone might actually come
Okay.
that heightens the excitement. All right, when the definition of romance to him is just to pounce on you, no PDA, no affectionate touches that has no relation to sex, what do you do?
Mm, mm. That one is a hard man, oh. That one is a hard man. But
Yeah.
I think you should keep talking about it. Do you know why I say you should keep talking about it? Not in a nagging form, but you see, you need to have, like what I tell people, you need to have what I call the sex conversation with your husband. And you don't have it when it's about the time for sex. You have it like you would discuss school fees, like you would discuss the project for the family, like you would discuss your family vision. So you create, schedule an appointment to discuss sex and sex-related matters with your husband. Then you tell me, honey, I'm sorry. Tomorrow, as you're coming back from work, please can you give me 30 minutes of your time or 10 minutes of your time because I need to talk about something very important. So your husband now comes back and he knows that he's not going to watch ball that night or he's not going to do other things that night or for that period except to speak with you. And then I need you to tell him this. Let me read it out for you because when I heard that, when I saw that thing, it really struck me. There was a quotation I saw by Isabel Allende. It says that for a woman, the best, okay, we've not talked about aphrodisiac, but we'll talk about it. That for a woman, words are the aphrodisiac of a woman.
Yeah.
And that, yes, words are aphrodisiac for a woman. But that, and that the G spot is in her ears. That anybody who looks below the ears is just wasting the time. So you sit down with your spouse, with your husband, and you say, honey, don't you wonder why I am not always interested in sex? Don't you wonder why I give you excuses when you want to touch me, or I don't respond the way you would want me to respond? Are you okay with the way, with the fact that I don't initiate sex? Are you okay with the fact that I don't respond to you with abandon? You know, with abandonment, I mean, when you touch me. By the time you ask your husband these questions, a reasonable man want to listen. Okay, so what is the reason why? Why? Then you begin to tell him, I'm a human being. I have emotions. I have feelings. I usually feel used. When you wait until the night, then you just touch me and you say I should turn. My emotions don't work that way. Honey, if you speak to me right in the morning.
Network receive sense in Jesus' name. Anyway, we'll wait for her. I know she will come back. But thank you all. Yeah, she's back. Nope, she's gone again. She'll be back. Thank you all. She's deep. I like her. Yes, I like her too. Thank you. Ace's reflection. I wonder what that is. But thank you. This is a male's perspective. See, when we bounce, we are looking for stress relief. It's deeper. But then you're making your wife your punching bag, even if you're looking for stress relief. That's my own opinion, though. I feel if you want to bounce, lay the ground floor. Bouncing that will give you body pain. No matter. So they said bouncing will give you body pain. Let's hope Tarek comes back, though, because let me see. Let me check in with her. Sorry, I'm going to go for my phone. Hey, Akiakon in the building. Thank you for joining. We see you. We see your reflection. Stop pouncing, okay? Yeah, saying the pouncing will give you body pain. Sister Bola, thank you. Then there's being overwhelmed with work and the kids are clingy. Anyway, so I'll be back. Let me just check in with her and see what's going on. All right, keep the conversation coming. We're here. We are still waiting. I want to check in with her. Let me just send her a message. She's saying it's telling her to wait for the host. Out and then log in again. She says she's still there. It's just telling her it's waiting for the host. So anyway, I just told her to log out and
Oh, so sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So sorry about that, Odum. I don't know what happened. So sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's okay. It's the
Okay, okay.
network.
Yes. So, like I was saying, and then you ask all of that, and he sits and said, "Okay, tell me. So, what is the issue?" And then you now tell him, "Look at what you do. Look at the way I will respond more to you if you're able to do all of this back home. I'm in the kitchen. You can sneak up to me and just hold me. I say, my wife, I'm back home. It won't cost you anything. You understand that? We
Yeah.
talk about it. And if you're and you just and you're also a Christian, see me, I believe that there's nothing prayer cannot do. So when you're doing action to add it with prayer, talk about it. Say, Lord, the heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord. And you turn it in whatever direction. Lord, turn the heart of my husband to listen. Me, I say, even I'm married to a Christian, I'm married to a pastor, and I also pray that kind of prayer. I pray that I say, Lord, as I want to suggest this thing to this man, let him listen to me and let him agree. Let him listen to me. Let him, because life is first spiritual, sister.
Yeah,
Life is
before
first spiritual.
physical. Yeah.
So I pray about it, then I now take the step. But I know how to also present it, when to present it, the attitude of presenting it, the wisdom to say the right words. Very important. So it's possible. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much. I hope you all are taking notes, my fellow women, right? I know some of us can be so eager that we want to present our case, and we're just like, see, you this man, you're not satisfying me in bed, so I'm not doing again. I'm not doing again. You know, I know how emotional we can be, but that's not what she's saying. She's saying pray about it, learn how to go about it, learn when to talk and when not to talk. Learn when to complain, when to give words of affirmation. Oh, darling, that last night was so wonderful, but you know, wisdom is profitable to direct.
Really
Okay?
profitable to direct.
Yes. Then there's the psychological part to it. I think there are other factors too that needs to be worked on. So we'll try and get to those factors. We'll talk about aphrodisiacs, we'll talk about G-spot, she just mentioned it briefly, and the different styles. We'll talk about all that. So let's move on so that we can do all we have for today. Let's go to the aphrodisiacs. You mentioned it briefly. Now, I want you to give us, I want us to be practical, okay? Because I promised them that they are going to take notes. So, what are the aphrodisiacs that you think women need? And we have some men here that are listening, and I hope they are taking notes too, because we are not just coming out to just say, women do this, women do that. There are some things that women needs to be done to them as well. So I hope you all are taking notes, okay? So I'm asking you, Tara, the aphrodisiacs that you will recommend to men that is, I will not say particular to you, but maybe that is relatable to most women.
Okay, let me start from the beginning of saying that don't take aphrodisiacs. And it's not a matter of being judgmental. That's why I'm saying this. No, not at all. It's because I have not needed to take aphrodisiac. My husband has also not needed to take aphrodisiac. Not because aphrodisiacs in themselves are bad. No, not at all. But for me as a person, I've had no cause. I'm even looking for the one to reduce my libido. So I don't even need it to be increased. I have had no cause to take aphrodisiac. But having said that, aphrodisiacs in themselves, but you've got to be careful. I am not a doctor, so I can't tell you take this and take that. But I posted a video recently, I think that was like last week on my page. It's by a doctor, a medical doctor in Nigeria, who is also versed in his school. They also had some courses outside Nigeria. So he's very good at what he does. And he told us that why some men die during sex is because of the so-called aphrodisiacs some of them have taken, and that it affects their hearts. So before you can talk about aphrodisiac, you must be careful the kind of things you're taking. Because people are taking, mixing all sorts now. Men are mixing. So if we have husbands, and we have husbands and they are connected, who are watching, who are connected to this show, please listen very well. And women, let me also tell you, women, if you're expecting that a man is not wired at most to go beyond 5 minutes from penile penetration. So in other words, from the time your husband penetrates you as a wife, begin to count. 3, 4, 5 minutes, the man is out. If God helps him too much, he gets to 7 minutes. After then, the man must have swallowed something. And these are the things that are killing some of our husbands. I am telling you. It is medically proven. You can Google, you can check, you can ask doctors. They will tell you that. So when you're expecting that your husband will keep going round by round, forget that. That thing is a lie from porn. They just do, they rig it, they keep playing it over and over again. It's not normal. So once a man wants to please his wife by going 10 minutes, 15 minutes, harder, he's taking something to be able to sustain erection. And that thing has a side effect. You understand? So before a man, but for those who have maybe low libido and some erectile dysfunction, you see a doctor. A doctor can give you proper prescription, because sometimes some people are taking drugs for other things. So you have to be careful. You don't take an aphrodisiac that can, counter the drugs you're taking and now be harmful to your system. Can be harmful to your system. But there are some natural aphrodisiac. But according to scientists, it has not even been proven that those.
Not again. Come on. Not again. Okay. Practice makes perfect. Yes. But I think the one that I'm actually referring to, which is what she was about to get to.
Okay.
But remember, okay, she's back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Remember mandrake in the Bible was when mandrake is like a fruit or so. When this lady came back from the market, from the farm, or her son, Leah. Leah was the one that wasn't loved by Jacob. Rachel was the one loved. Yes, and then Leah's son also came back from the farm, from the bush, with mandrakes. And Leah said, Rachel said, please give me mandrakes now, let me eat and all of that. So it's been, in those days, they said mandrakes is like an aphrodisiac. Now when you take mandrake, it helps in fertility, improving sexual urge and all that, sexual desire. So in the Bible, aphrodisiac is even there. So mandrake is an aphrodisiac. So it's not that aphrodisiacs are bad, but you must be sure the kind of aphrodisiac you're taking. The natural ones are not bad. Some people say chocolate is an aphrodisiac. But even scientifically, they said it is not supported by science. It's just that because it's sweet, it gives you a sweet feeling. And
then of things is not supported by science anyway. But I know the one of mandrakes. I know the one of chocolate, black chocolates actually, not white.
There's some herbs, some African herbs, some Chinese herbs, some African herbs. They have been said to boost libido and to increase sexual desire in people, sometimes more in women, and that it also helps orgasm. But like I said, I've not had to use them, so I can't recommend any because I've not had to use them.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Talking about aphrodisiac, like I said, I know black chocolate. I know yogurt. I know the one of yogurt. I'm talking about women, actually. They are just things that I believe you eat. They are actually edible food. I don't think will affect you health-wise if done in moderation. Everything needs to be done in moderation. Now, that being said, there is this brandy song that I know a long time ago. It's actually titled Aphrodisiac. Yeah, my Aphrodisiac. So I want to ask this question. Can your spouse be your aphrodisiac?
Yes, now for me, yes, your spouse can be your aphrodisiac. You see, like for us women, it's about our emotions, it's about our heart. So if I'm in a good place with my husband, and then I admire his body, you understand? My husband can pass, and I'm lusting after him.
You're super attracted to your husband. Yes.
I just have this urge. I want to, and sometimes when he passes with his correct boxer, there are some boxers that for me just puts me in the mood. They are not the cotton; they are the those kind of hugging boxers. So when he passes, and I go like, stop looking at me. So I just get in the mood. So it's possible that your spouse, and then for a woman who has a beautiful shape, you understand, you can pass and your G-string, you pass and your husband just gets into the mood. So yes, it's possible people that just men looking at your spouse, especially when you're okay in your heart with them, your emotions are in a good place with them. Yes, you can have the odds. It can just be a desire lighting, lighting,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's
I agree. I know the one. I know for me, it's perfume. Once you're smelling good, once it's smelling good. Oh my goodness. So some people, it's just some things that can actually be tied to your love language. I think it's just like maybe
yeah,
he's looking good. He's always clean. He's always presentable,
yeah,
or he smells good.
yeah,
There are some things that are just natural that can be your aphrodisiac. You just need to find out what it is
yeah,
and talk to your partners about it.
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
That's
Yes, a man's body can be an aphrodisiac. Yes. A man's character too can be an aphrodisiac. If a man is treating
yes,
you right, that can be an
yeah,
aphrodisiac. Yes.
yeah,
So there
that's
are natural ways of getting aphrodisiac than going through
yeah.
taking Viagra or whatever.
Uh,
All right. Thank you. So let's go to the G spots. You mentioned it earlier that for a woman, their G spots is in the ears. But we know some men, most men are hung up on the boobs, they are hung up on the bum, they are hung up on the lips. So let's talk about the G spots. What are the G spots do you
okay.
think we should tell our men to look out for and to work on?
Okay, but let's start with realizing that there is a place called the G spot. Although
Yeah.
some doctors and some people have said there's no place like that, but some people say there is. And but me, I believe that there is. You know why I believe that there is? Because there is an angle when I'm having sex, when I'm making love with my husband. There is an angle in my vagina that when he
Oh
hits
la
it,
la,
the
shows.
sensation.
You start
Yes,
kabashing.
I'm telling you, the sensations are mind blowing. The sensations are mind blowing. So it is. So you have, but let's also know that apart from that part of a woman's body, that what a woman listens to, or the
Yeah.
words that she hears, and the way she's treated. Also, because for me, a woman's greatest sexual tool is not her nipple, it's not the vagina, it's not even the clitoris, it's her mind. And it's actually I wrote that in this book. I said it in this book. That is the book, the Sex on the Couch book. I
Yeah.
said it's the mind. A
Yeah.
woman's mind is in a good place with her spouse, with her husband, then it's easier for the juices to flow. It is easier. So when you're talking about dry vagina, dry, you're not wet. It's because sometimes of the things that are happening around you, the things that you have heard, the things that you have seen, and how you have been treated. So it's a wise man who would realize that he needs to speak right to his wife. It's a wise man who would realize that he needs to treat his wife well,
Wow.
so that he can get the best of her. So you want her to scream in the bedroom, then treat her well in the
Well,
kitchen room.
yep.
Let me say that again. You want her to scream her head off in the bedroom, then treat her well in the kitchen. Treat her well in the sitting room. Treat her well outside. Then you will get the best of her in the bedroom.
Gang, gang, mic drop. That finished it all. We are done. The man left the building. Did you all hear that? She said if you want her to scream her head out in the bedroom, treat her right in the kitchen, treat her right in the living room, treat her right in the shopping mall. Okay?
Yeah.
Because let's not forget that going to the shopping mall is an aphrodisiac for some people. Giving them your credit card is an aphrodisiac.
Yes. Credit alert is an
I'm telling you, it's an aphrodisiac. So treat them right, and then they will turn into something else in the bedroom. Thank you for that. Someone actually said, thank you, Ma, for that word. When your emotions are in a good place with your spouse, then it is on. So basically, that's what we are saying as well. They are saying, bless you, love Dr. Tari. It's all in what she holds in her mind. Yes, we women, we are naturally an emotional being. Most of what we do is tied to our emotions. If our mind is in the right place, you get the best out of us. But then you have to do some work. Anyway, So let's actually mention those G spots that you know, aside the mind, aside treating her right. Are there other G spots, the practical ones that a man needs to know? I know you mentioned the ear. Are there other ones that you want us to know about?
Okay, like I said, for those, because some people are watching and they are saying, what do they mean by other G spots? We have only one G spot. In reality, we have only one G spot. But when we're talking about different G spots, we're saying the other things that can make you really excited about sex. You understand? So for me, I tell people, and I tell you as a woman, explore your body, or let your husband explore your body. If you can't talk because of your upbringing, a woman does not express so much, does not talk so much sex. You becoming carnal. Oh, woman of God. Oh, daughter of God. Have you left the faith? Are you still born again? Are you still to lead you again to Christ? Yes, lead us again. Lead us again to Christ. But what you should do as a woman, take your husband's hand. If you're not bold enough to talk about it, both of you should go on a voyage of discovery, explore. So no matter how old you are in marriage, you can keep doing this because we keep evolving. Our needs keep changing. Our emotions and our feelings, you understand? As long as we have hormones working in our bodies, sometimes our moods will change. So when you are with your spouse on the couch, whatever, watching movie, or you're together, just take their hand and begin to let their hand touch you. Explore your body. As she's doing that, be noting those places that are very exciting to you. So when you know those places that are exciting to you, you tell him, oh, honey, pause. This is the place. Honey, pause. This is the place. Or if you don't want to talk, let his hand stop. Hold it. When his hand wants to leave that place, take his hand back. Then you're passing an information to him that place is very sweet. Touch it for me. And then when it's so hard, because sometimes their lips are on your boobs, on your nipple, and they're sucking as if they're sucking feeding bottle, as if they're sucking a baby's being bottle. And it's, according to my friend, this is a human being skin. You understand? So be gentle with it. So let them know. Tell them, no, honey, soft touch, soft touch. Use your thumb. Use your thumb. Don't pluck it. It's somebody's body. Don't pluck it. Because you're hurting me. So you need to let them know it's soft touch with their tongue. When you use the tip of the tongue, you have maximum pleasure from the tip of the tongue than in the middle of the tongue. So you need to learn all of those things. See, that's like sex, you keep learning, you keep evolving. Me, I am still learning too. Yes, this is my area, but I also grow every day and I learn in this area. So you touch, soft touch, you use your thumb, then you use your tongue. Then you explore, let them touch everywhere from head to toe. So you will discover that there's what they call erogenous zones are those nerve endings that when you touch, your body just gets on fire. But if you don't explore, you won't know. You have them, they are dormant, they have never been touched. And it's a dangerous place to be because sometimes you may just find yourself in one kind of tight spot with a man that is not your husband and you will fall because your husband has not discovered those areas. Let us not think that we are too strong that we can stand. He that thinks he stands, let him take heed lest he fall.
Wow, thank you so much. It's obvious you've been duly loved. It's obvious she's satisfied. Even though she's still learning. Did you hear when she was saying, put your tongue somewhere, tell him to go to pattern to use your tongue? I'm writing. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. I hope we've all learned a lot today. So the last point we talk about today is creativity. I know when we started this, before we came on live, I was asking you the funniest question that you've been asked, and you told me about a Christian woman asking you if doggy style is a man. Okay, they were asking you if doggy style is spiritual or if it's Christian-like. So let's talk about. Okay, let's talk about the weirdest places for sex. Like you told us what you said your own fantasy was to have it done on the freezer. So what other weirdest places that you want to explore as a couple to have sex?
Everywhere.
No place is off limits.
They are not limits.
Everywhere is
doable. Wait, like, see, let me tell you guys. I share. I work with him. We run a law office, and so one of those days recently, I just got into his. I got into his office. My own office is his own. So I got into his office and I locked the door. And he was like, "What's happening?" I locked the door and I lifted up my dress and I told him, let's have a quickie. He said, "What is this? During working hours?" I said, "Yes." And I told him, and after that I told him, "Thank you, bye, I've served you lunch."
And you left.
And I left. Yes. They can actually be anywhere just to add fun so that you don't become, because after a while boredom will set in if you don't keep tweaking, you don't keep being creative. Boredom will set in. So to avoid boredom setting in, once in a while you move location. So you can be in the bathroom. I know some of us do it a lot in the bathroom. You can be in the bathroom when you're bending over to brush your teeth. They can do a quickie behind you. So you can be in the seat.
It's about to go down.
So it can be on the counter in the kitchen. You know, when you have a counter, a table, or your drawer, your chest of drawers on the table in the kitchen, so you can just lift you up on top of it and you're going down. So long as your children are not around and that you can send them away, well, they are out for one thing or they are playing, lock up everywhere, do something. It can be in the parlor, it can be on your table, it can be on the couch, it can be anywhere. Whatever it is to just tweak up your sex life. It mustn't always happen on the bed. Bed can be boring after a while. And even if you are doing it on the bed, you can switch. There are different positions you can even do on the bed, and the bed won't spin anymore. So you can, for those of you who feel that, no, I must, because I know that there are some places in Nigeria, there's a particular tribe in River State where they said they don't do anything other than on the bed. You can't even be doing and put your hand on the ground. It's an abomination. So even on the bed, you can switch things. For those of us who are Christians, we don't believe in all those kind of things anyway.
All right. Thank you very much. Very valid points. Just that it takes two to tango. Okay.
Yes, it does. I agree.
Yeah, it does. It does take two. But then there's really, I believe there's a way you can actually go about it when it comes to getting your partner.
Let me just tell you. Let me tell my sisters. Don't wait for him to initiate.
Yeah.
The day you want to do something crazy, take the driver's seat. Take the reins of control and tell him, "Honey, just submit your body for me tonight. Just submit your body. Relax, let me pleasure you." See, when you take charge, you determine the pace you did want to do. So you take charge, you climb him, you do what you want to do. And when you're on top, maximum satisfaction is guaranteed when you are on top. You know why? Because your clitoris is pressed on his body. It's pressed on his body, so you can actually have maximum satisfaction.
Wow. Thank you so much. So there's another question that just came in. How do you know if you're sexually compatible before marriage, since Christianity doesn't permit premarital sex?
What do you mean by? You see that now? Those are the stories and the lies people are bringing up. Sexual compatibility. Number one, ask yourself, this man, is it from God? If you believe that this husband, that's why I tell people, there are people who are single, I tell them, you must learn to hear from God long before marriage decision comes up. Find out the pattern that God speaks to you, how you hear from God, long before a decision to marry a particular person comes up. Because, and I'm talking to Christian wives now, if you know, or Christian women, even those who are not yet married, because if you understand the way God speaks to you, then you put down your decision that you want to marry a particular person to God, and you get his affirmation and confirmation that this is the person for you to marry. They realize that God is the one who has brought in. God will give you a man who will satisfy you, that will be compatible with you. I don't know about you, but this is my belief. And I tell you, because after I got married, my friend, I didn't know my husband. So for those of you who are thinking that I'm talking from because I'm married already, let me tell you, I didn't have sex with my husband until our wedding night. I married as a Christian. My husband is also a Christian. We made our mind. We made up our minds that we will honor God. So I had not tasted my husband sexually. He had not tasted me. So we didn't know whether we're sexually compatible or incompatible, like what people are saying. Because I don't know where that one is coming from, but I've been hearing it. But I think it's the life of the pit of hell.
Yeah, in fact, a guy just said, Aki said, sexual compatibility is the biggest lie.
It's a lie. I agree with Akin. It's a lie. It's a lie. So now, what I did was, okay, after I now got married, my friend told me, she stays in the UK, and she called me, she said, Tare, there was a risk you took, because they knew I kept myself, that I didn't have sex with my husband until our wedding night. So she called me, and she said, that's a risk you took. How did you know that this one was going to be satisfied? And I told her, I said, you see, I believe that my husband came from the Lord, and that every good and every perfect gift from him, and that because I knew it was a gift from me, and God knows that I love sex, that there is no way he will give me a man that will satisfy my sexual urges. And so, yes, and so because I believed that it was a gift from God, I knew the sex part would work, and it worked, and it worked. And yes, I know that we had to learn, along the road. He had to adjust, because more of the higher, he had to adjust. So there's nothing that you cannot adjust and adapt to when you get married, and you get married right, and you're ready to work on it. You're ready to work on it. It's
ready to work on it.
It's a matter of negotiation. It's a matter of adjusting to reality. Yes, be ready to work on it.
Yeah.
So you can think that you're marrying somebody, because some people don't even know whether they have high libido or low libido.
Yeah.
They may not have been sexually adventurous, so they may not know. So now, how will you now know whether the person is compatible or not? So how many will you test? So when you test one person, now you think you're not sexually compatible. You now move to another person. How many will you test before you finally get married?
Wow, thank you so much. 95% of sex is psychological, 5% is physical. Wow.
True.
Thank you so much. I hope that answered your question for Esther Queen. All right, so let's go to the different styles. Like you said, is doggy style is it scriptural? Is it Christian for you to have doggy style? Is it Christ-like for you to have doggy style? Is it Christ-like for you to give each other the edge? So let's talk about those ones.
Okay. For me, I believe that anything that is between a husband and a wife in the bedroom that does not degrade, abuse, and affect their values and their beliefs,
and their morality,
is allowed.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that does not degrade them as a human being. And that there is consent between the two of them, and your conscience is not judging you. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. So if you think, because the Bible, of course, did not clearly state the particular style, even the one we call missionary style. Where did you put it in the Bible that that's the style that should be done? Where did you put it? You I've read the Bible back to back for the past 11 years, every year. I've read back to back Genesis to Revelation every year. And I have not seen where they said it's missionary style, that is the holy style for a husband and wife to indulge in. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
So any style that is okay by you, we have different styles. You have the one they call the cat, I think the coital alignment technique. Coital alignment technique. See, I have all of them in my book. It's just like that book they call Every Woman. So if you see, I'm trying to, if you can see, you can even see images in my book. You can even see the images. So there are the various styles that can help you maximally enjoy sex with your spouse. You have different styles, don't be innovative, open your mind, be creative. The one that is not painful. That tells you to suspend on the ceiling, not suspend though, because that one, if anything happens to you, you're your own.
Don't hang your head and put your leg down and be upside down.
Sex should be comfortable. You understand? Sex should be comfortable. It should be comfortable. So I shouldn't be going through so much acrobatics to satisfy you, and then my legs are hurting me when I'm done. Then my back is hurting me. And some I will not have to go to the ER
Yeah.
emergency room because I
Or
was
they just start to be using hot water to press your
thing
body.
is that one.
Okay.
You think they're supposed to give you pleasure is that
Pain.
good?
All right. Thank you. There was a question that came up. Why do women pretend they don't want sex when they actually want it?
No, I think it's upbringing. Number one, it could be upbringing. It could also be religious because of religion. You understand? Because some people have been told that it's carnal to want to have sex, as if sex came from it didn't come from the devil, it came from God. And you understand, and it's a beautiful thing, it's a good thing. So women, we need to start from our mentality, you understand, renewing our mind in the area of sex. And if you want it, reach out, initiate sex, initiate it. It is your husband feels valued, your husband feels esteemed. When he knows that his wife wants him, you don't know what you do to your husband's self-esteem when you initiate sex, when you let him know that his body excites you, pleasures you. It helps his self-esteem because you see, if the man's sexuality is tied to his manhood. You understand the way he feels sexually affects every other area of it. It makes him feel like a man, that he can pleasure his wife, or that his wife is excited about him, that she wants him for him. So please try and initiate sex more often. And when they initiate, please be receptive, be warm, be open. Don't lie like a log of wood on the bed and just say, when you finish, let me know. When you finish, wake me up, I'm sleeping.
Okay, let me ask you
You
a
don't
question.
know what that
Now,
thing does to a man. You don't know.
This wanting it but not letting him know you want it, can that be an aphrodisiac? Like, some people like the pursuit. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Can it be that some women just want to be pursued?
How long would they be pursuing you? They were pursuing you before they got married to you. They are married to you 5 years, 10 years. You have 3 children. You still want that kind of pursuit? Now, wait, now the man is tired. What kind of pursuit is that one? Give some slack. So you want something, you be dying. Why would you want something and then you be angry and upset over little things because you're feeling sexually frustrated and you don't know how to tell him that you're feeling sexually frustrated? You're doing yourself. I keep saying you're shortchanging yourself. So if you feel the urge, if you don't want to use your mouth, use your leg. Just use your leg and slide up his leg. But you are passing your information. I'm ready for you, brother. Brother, I'm ready for you.
Bros, how far now? All right. Thank you so much. It's been very entertaining. And our 1 hour is up. But luckily, we've been able to treat all the points that I have here. So, and thank you all. They said should men are natural hunters. Why should he get tired of pursuing? That's the question.
When a man has hunted, when a hunter in the farm, in the bush, in the forest, when he's pursuing after an antelope, once he gets the antelope, does he keep running? He does not keep running. He carries the meat home and roasts the meat to eat. You have been caught. You have been caught, though. So just arrange yourself and tell yourself you have been caught. But it doesn't mean that they will still pursue us.
Yeah.
But the pursuit now, the color of it has changed. It has metamorphosed. We need to wake up to that reality too.
Aki also actually said, we are busy hunting other responsibilities of life. We don't want to come home and hunt you again.
Thank you, Akin. Thank you, Akin.
If we hunt, then we pounce.
That's the thing. Then they hunt, they pounce. Thank you, Akin.
Anyway, thank you all so much. This has been so entertaining. So before we go, I'm going to ask you to summarize everything we've talked about today and to give women any advice you think we need to know when it comes to having a fulfilled sexual life. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of women shortchange themselves, and statistically, we've been shown to be the one that feign orgasm more. We pretend when we're actually not getting satisfaction sexually. So what do you think we need to change? They're saying we have to bring you back. You got to come back. So we will bring you back. But before we get to that, what do you think women need to do more to have a fulfilled sexual life?
Okay, it starts from self-awareness. It starts from self-awareness. Know who you are. Be okay with your sexuality. Don't feel that you need to stifle your sexuality. Be free. Be okay with it. You are entitled to it. That's who you are. So you don't owe anybody apology for being a sexual being. You understand? Or for being for having desires. It is normal. It shows that you are healthy. So be okay in your skin. Be okay with who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, you can't tell somebody to help you. You can't tell somebody the person won't understand you. So you've got to be okay with who you are. Explore it. Own it. It's you. Own it. Then guide and teach your partner how to pleasure you. Teach your partner how to pleasure you. It's very important. See, your husband is not the Holy Spirit. Your husband is not omniscient. He does not know everything. So you need to teach your husband to love you the way your body needs to be loved. You need to teach and guide him. I know some will say some men don't want to learn. If they don't want to learn, sometimes you have them that shop is locked until you are ready to learn, and that you cannot get the best of this body until you know how to pleasure this body. Because in pleasuring you, they will ultimately be pleasured. I'm telling you. Then also you need to realize that you cannot leave all your pleasure in the hand of one human being. No, you cannot. Woman, you cannot. You've got to be involved in the pleasuring of your body. What do I mean by this? So that I'm not misunderstood. Your mind needs to be connected to the act of sex when you're having sex. Two, you need to think of sex more often than you are thinking, because when you think, it prepares your body. Number three, you need to learn to initiate more often, and as you're initiating, you're guiding the space, you're moving, you're causing the flow, you're the one determining the flow. Number four, as you are determining the flow, when he wants to come before you are ready to climax, pull out. Pull out or pinch his balls. Say, guy, hold on, ready yet? Hold on, I'm not ready yet. Then continue until you're able to also satisfy yourself. You understand that? Then let's go. Make some noise when you're having sex. It is not carnal. God bless you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Aki said standing ovation. Thank you so much. Obviously, you spoke most of the languages of men today. You really went in there for the women, to give it to them. Thank you so much. For me, a lot of things stood up. Obviously, I'm going to go watch again, because like I tell you, when I sit here, I don't know everything as well. I learn. And I try some things out myself too. So I'll have to rewatch this video again myself. So thank you so much. And one thing that stood out for me is owning who you are. Be okay with your sexuality. If you have a high sex drive, own it. And then let your partner lead your partner to that path where they own it with you. And if yours is a lower libido, own it. And then talk to your partner on how to, meet yourself halfway. I remember a time we brought Modara Sayo, and someone was asking, the person said, my husband has a very high libido and I don't. And what she said was that keep going, and let him too keep coming, and then one day you guys will meet in the middle, But like she said, communication is important. So talk about it. So before we let you go, they're asking for the title of your book and where they can get it from, and all your social media handles, so they can learn more from you.
Sex on the Couch. It's on Amazon for my international audience or group of buyers. It's on Amazon. In Lagos, in Nigeria, you have it in Roving Heights bookstore, online and physical shop. Roving Heights. They're also on Instagram. Roving Heights. And Book Peddler NG, Roving Heights, as if you're roving, it's joined together. So in Nigeria, in Lagos, in Abuja, you also have it in Robin Heights Bookshop in Abuja. In Port Harcourt, you have it in D-Line, you have it at Roma, the Wisdom Place Church, you have it in Gateway International Church Bookshop in Port Harcourt. Then in Yenegua, you have it in Necessity Stores. In Abuja, you also have it in Necessity Stores. I can have all those information
yes,
available.
We'll just put it on this video will still be on Instagram, so we can put it as a comment for you. But most importantly, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it. So on Amazon, what do they search for? Do they search for Sex on the Couch, or do they search for your name?
Search for my name, then Sex on the Couch beside. Just look Sex on the Couch by Tare Dite Ojoke.
Okay.
Sex on the Couch by Tare Dite Ojoko. Ojoko.
All right. So we'll put all those informations out there for you to get and to get the book, because I'm actually super pumped about the book myself. So let's get those books. It will help us. It will spice up things for us in the other room. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Tare. You're actually the love doctor. The love doctor in the building. Yeah. So they're saying you need to come back. So we hope that we'll bring you back the next time you will come. We really enjoyed this episode with you. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, Aki. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Esti Queen. Thank you, Adebola Amira. Thank you, all of you. I can see some names are gone, so I can, if I don't mention your name, it's because it's gone, but I really appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. And until the next time we come your way, my name is still ODUN Akerele. I'm still a friend, I'm still a sister, and I'm still a woman like you. So go spice up your sex life and give us the details later. All right? Bye. Catch you the next time. Bye.